To say hi. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome to Different Perspectives with Leanne and Mason Holitza. We are here to discuss our differing viewpoints through the lens of energy work. Today, we'll be discussing our experiences with the stigma around energy work. Myself, Leanne, has a background working in business before I found my true path and transitioned into energy work, which is also business. And I'm currently an owner of the Healing Studio in Broomfield, Colorado, where I work as a healer and a teacher. You can find more about me at insightfulinspirations.com. Mason, my son, has the unique opportunity to be raised in a subtle energy aware household where more than meets the eye is not only validated but encouraged to explore. He's currently a student journalist at CSU. You can find his work on the Rocky Mountain Collegian. So today we're going to talk about stigma. I'm in the office today. You can see different background. So I definitely have experienced some stigma with my work and doing what I do, but I would love to kick it off to you, Mason, and hear more about what you've experienced.
Well, I definitely feel like, based on like the stories you tell me, there is a lot less stigma for my generation. And I
Maybe?
think a big part of that has been actually astrology has been like the mainstream thing that has brought a lot of people into the realm of energy work. Maybe if they're not diving super deep, but they're into it, if that makes sense. And I think that a lot of the stigma I'll see is from those kids whose parents ingrained it in them to be judgmental, and this is the way that things are.
Okay.
But I've seen, I guess maybe it's just the kind of people that you surround yourself with. So whenever I interact with the energy community, I don't see any stigma around it. Everybody's very accepting. No one's, well, not always, but
Well, what was that? What was that? Not always.
there's been some times when certain healers will be judgmental of other healers because of something that they're doing.
Yeah, that definitely happens.
Always an all accepting community.
Right? I mean, we're human just like everybody else, right? I mean, without naming names or being too specific, do you have a story you want to tell?
Nothing comes to mind very specifically, but I just remember there have been lots and lots of feuds, some of them over methods, some of them just over like basic drama.
So you feel like there's been drama at the healing studio?
It feels more like soap opera drama than like, oh, you should be really upset about this. But
Yeah.
there have been a few things that were like, really. There was the incident with the I guess this isn't stigma around it, but it's just the guys walking through your hallways.
Yeah, well, that's not anything to do with energy. Yeah, that's just bad manners.
Yeah. But I think that there are some judgments that go across on other people's practices.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I don't think so that's really going on at the healing studio right now. I think it
No,
has in the
maybe in the
past,
past, yeah.
but I don't think anybody that's presently at the healing studio is that judgmental of each other. I think they're pretty supportive of each other, which is super helpful.
Answer me this. If we're talking about the stigma, you probably experienced a lot more than I have. When you were in like high school and college, would you have ever thought to go to your group of friends and be like, look at all this energy work. Isn't it so cool?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I did it even in middle school, but it wasn't everybody who could accept it. And there were metaphysical shops that were fun to go to, and I love to go to the metaphysical section of the tattered cover, and I feel like um, there was some air room for it, but there's still a lot of judgment of like people who think it's not real or think that you're stupid or getting conned if you go get it done or worked on. I mean, I will challenge those people to come have a session and see what I know, even though I don't know you. I mean, I have had people say to me, like, who come to sessions who are skeptics, like, did you Google me before? Did you look at my Facebook page? Like, how do you know all of this? Right. And it's like, well, I know because I'm listening to your energy field. But and it's hard for some people to accept, and some people come and try to be open and then can't be open. You know, I know there's some religious stigma too. There's people who really, can't don't feel like they can because they say their religion says they can't.
I
Um,
feel like we've experienced a lot of that in our family with some of our relatives that live a little further away.
yeah, I mean, they just don't talk about it. There's an avoidance from some relatives. I mean, I have had a conversation, and it led to me being told that I was working with the devil,
Mm-hmm. I
which
remember you telling me.
which I assure you I am not. But and I was thought we were speaking the same language. We were talking about what I believe and what I think and what they think and how we think it works, and we literally had the same thoughts, but then it was just the methods. My method was not appropriate, according to this person. I mean, I've had other stories where, I mean, dad was embarrassed at first to tell people what I did. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not anymore, but at first he didn't want the neighbors to know. He didn't know what people would say. And I admit, in like the small talk chitty chat at parties, when they're like, what do you do for work? I mean, if I said I was a janitor, I'd probably have gotten less judgment than me saying, and not that janitors are bad, but I'm just saying that there's like, I mean, you have all these stigmas about these
Yeah,
things, right?
it's like elitism, but not about money, about
Right.
beliefs. Because I think that there's this widespread acceptance of just being a part of a church.
Well, and I know, and I guess I want to go back to that, like, chit chat, small talk on at parties of what do you do, because I feel like there are certain professions you're not allowed to say that you do that are kind of like have a stigma. That's why I said janitor, because I feel like that has a stigma, and I've personally read it, because off of people who do that really great work, and I feel them going, I don't want people to know, or I mean, I feel less than, which doesn't seem like I mean, every job on the planet is needed to be done. I mean, not every job actually, but the janitor job does, right? And so does, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the stigmas I feel like they're there beyond just energy work. I feel like there's lots of judgment.
Of any kind of profession, I would say that there are just more branches of the judgment that comes from energy healing, because people don't know anything about it, so they're quick to judge. Like, I would say that teachers, construction workers, janitors, they all get this huge amount of judgment when they really it should be respect. Like, no, non-skilled labor should be respected.
Well, I don't even know if that is non-skilled.
Well,
I mean, those are, I
well,
mean,
that's how it's
teaching
seen
and
in the
being a
eyes of, like,
custodian, those are skills.
yes, that's how it's like seen in the eyes of data.
Yeah, but I mean, like, where you're working, would you be embarrassed to say?
No,
Why not?
because yeah, I would say it's because of widespread acceptance. Everybody loves the nursery.
And what about where you worked last?
Um, it's more of a like, oh, I worked here, isn't that bad?
So see, there was stigma. And
Yeah,
that was in the grocery store. We need the grocery store.
yeah, and well, nobody wants to be a grocery worker, teachers, energy workers, because they just don't want the judgment, right? I think so many people avoid these communities just because of what people will say.
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's really unfortunate that we can't, like, be curious about each other's stuff. If I say I'm a quality tester, I mean, what does that mean, right? But if I say I'm a grocery store worker, there's a difference. But I think with energy healing in general, I think that there's a strong, like, forbidden or con artist kind of thing. I mean, they've done so many segments on news things about conning psychics, and they are out there. And that's terrible. There's also conning everything's, right? I mean, people who are doing bad things.
I think that there's this branch of energy workers who making the ones who are actually doing stuff look bad, and that's like the scammers, the people who go. I've seen it a lot with the what are they called? The people who use guesswork, like strategic guesswork, to figure out, and they'll have a big audience in front of them. Like there are some of them that are legitimate, but then there are others that are very much like they're just throwing out the first syllables of a name and hoping someone knows someone who died in this crowd. And I think they make it look really bad because when that one story comes out that says this person did something bad, they're an energy worker, people tie that in.
Yeah, I can't remember which late night show person made me mad. I think it was
John Oliver.
John Oliver, who was like, psychics and blah, blah, blah. Like he had a whole rant about this profession, which I mean, I don't know. He rants about a lot of things, so maybe I shouldn't take it personally, but it's just, like yeah. I mean, definitely don't fall for, if any of you are listening and go out and talk to a psychic, don't fall for the ones who say, put $500 in an envelope and let it capture all your bad juju, and then hand it over to me and I'll get rid of it. Right? Like that's just, silly. But I mean, I know people really want quick fixes and things like that, and that's why it's got a bad name. But do you remember the story of you coming to me about your friend saying that he it wasn't okay what I did?
Yeah.
Work. Can you tell that story?
Well, my friend definitely told me, like he said, he's a very Christian person, and his family raised him very Christian. His dad's a police officer. Not gonna say any more than that, but he was very much like, what your mom does isn't real. And I think that was because I would like bring in stuff like tarot cards and sprays, and I'd show it off.
You would?
Cool. Yeah, and crystals and stuff. And I thought it was cool. And he was just like, that's not real. And I came home and I said that to you. And I said, my friend says that's not real.
Yeah. Which again, I found quite, ironic to say about somebody's profession. Again, like we could be like saying that a janitor is not real, or a, person who has to unload the produce in the back of the grocery store. I've never seen them, so they're not real. The fruit and vegetables just magically appear and the toilets magically clean themselves. I mean, I just don't, I don't know. I feel like this blocks people from getting the help that they could have.
And I do think that a big part of it is the religious, because it gets cycled in as religious work.
Well, your grandfather, the local one, he's very openly says he doesn't believe in any of this stuff, and that has nothing to do with religion.
Well, yeah, but I think that there's also that other end. So there's that religious end that goes, no, God is the answer. Your work can't possibly be just the end all be all, because there's this. And then there's the other end. There's the skeptics who are just skeptical of all religion, and they cycle this in as religion.
Well, and to just be clear, my work isn't the end all be all, right? I mean, and it doesn't conflict with religion. It doesn't conflict with religious beliefs. It has really nothing to do with it, quite honestly. We're non-physical beings, and we can have conscious conversations with those sides of ourselves, and we can make shifts. It's just like prayer.
Well, prayer is just intentions, is the way I see it.
Yeah. Well, and so, I'm encouraging you guys who are listening, if you're listening now or listening later and you have any questions or comments you want to share, you are more than welcome to. I do see that there is some Facebook, there's presently some Facebook errors that it's not posting to the tribe and things like that. I don't know why, but it's erroring out and telling me that it's a problem with Facebook. So, anyway, they're working on a fix, but as of now, maybe the tribe's not watching us. But that being said, there was I said your father had some fear about people finding out. And I do believe I lost some friendships over moving into this profession because people were just like, it's too weird. I can't talk about it. I can't handle it.
But I think we kind of covered that in an old podcast that was kind of necessary.
Right. But I guess it still goes to the stigma, right? And even people who know me directly, who know me and who I am, they, still had trouble with it or whatever. Um,
Well,
so
and I definitely think that there's a big part of it that is negative associations with it. Like, I think everything factors in right now, and that's the problem, is that everybody will judge based on the smallest thing. And energy work is just the stack of things. Like, I would say that somebody looking from the outside looking in would see it as very liberal, very much like kind of a more hippie end of your work. If you're like the typical conservative, I think that you would be less likely to get it if you were a liberal.
that's an interesting. I don't know that it has a political. I mean, maybe I don't
I'm
know.
just like everything is correlated back to that right now, or
Well,
back to any kind of.
maybe it is right now, just because of how divisive everything has become.
And I think that there's so many things that people have chosen to use to be divisive over.
Yeah, although I definitely have a good chunk of religious customers and conservative customers. Like it doesn't. I mean, I have those people who are coming to get energy healing work.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've worked on Mormons, Muslims,
Would you say that
Christians,
they're very?
Catholics.
Would you say that they're very like those more conservative religious types? Would you say that they're more open to the people around them about your work, or more closed off? Because I would.
Okay, so that's actually an interesting question. So people's willingness to tell people that they're coming to see somebody like me,
Yeah.
or willing to refer their friends.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know that it goes down a party line. It does sometimes go down a religious line. I do have some people who think that they're nervous about coming and be thinking that it might be judged in their religion as bad, and so they don't share with their circles because their circles are part of their religion.
Yeah. Well, I could see it. Like it's very visible right now, those lines.
Hmm.
Especially if you look at like social media. Because there's a huge energy group, but I feel like there's this blockage of just these people who don't believe this. Now I would say that there are just enough people that are outspoken about not being involved that it works.
Hmm. What Let me ask you this. You tend to be on the side of being a rebel and wanting to be on the outside of things. If
Yeah.
if energy work was super mainstream, would you be interested in it?
That's a good question. I think I still would be, but maybe not as much.
Okay.
Well, and because there's a lot of like reason that comes out of it and not a lot of rules, like explicit rules, like this is how you should live your life. There's no moral definitions that come out of energy work. And I think that's why I like it so much better than like religion
Because you don't want your morals to be defined?
by someone else or by someone who translated a book 400 years ago.
So I know you really I'll show my wall of flower essence. I know you really like flower essence and you like to me to give it to your friends sometimes. How does your friends take that?
Um, the way I put it, the way that I phrase it is the placebo effect.
Well, that then just makes it sound like it's just sugar water.
Well, I tell them that it actually works, but I say that a lot of it comes from this placebo effect where you know that this mixture will help you.
But you don't know how the mixture will help you until you take it.
Yeah, true.
So
But
placebo implies that you think you're going to get some certain outcome, and then that thought produces it.
yeah, well, it's a lot of how I convince myself that it works.
Okay.
With logic, the logic part of my brain.
Okay. So So did you ever feel judged besides that one time with your friends about having your mother do what she does?
Through middle school, like elementary through middle school, yes, definitely. Felt very judgmental of that. Everybody was very much like quick to say like, "Oh, that's not real. That's not. You shouldn't be believing that. That's dumb." And then I got to maybe the second half of high school, I felt like a lot of that dropped away. But then once I got to college, everybody's just open to everything.
So
Yeah.
maybe it's the college setting though.
I think it might also be parents.
Okay.
I think a lot of the kids might be afraid to explore that kind of stuff openly, while their parents are still judging their actions.
Yeah, makes sense. Um, well, and why do you suppose parents are so judgmental?
Um, because I don't know, because I've never been a super strict person, but I think that it's because otherwise they believe that there'll be some terrible. I think that they genuinely believe that very minute things will make their child turn into like a degenerate. Like energy work is going to lead you down a path that'll take you away from your beliefs.
Yeah, I mean, again, those are some stigmas, right? So what do you think take you away from your core values, make you what? Sacrifice lambs? I mean, what do you think parents are afraid of?
I think that that's where their head goes. That's where they go to the worst case scenario, and I think a lot of the strictest parents go to the worst case scenario. They're just like, this is going to happen because it could happen.
Hmm.
And well, I think that there's also this moral barrier where they see their morals as being set in stone, and you shouldn't try to stray outside of that.
Well, I just don't even see how energy work even goes against anybody's morals. Because it
Mm-hmm.
really doesn't. I mean, it's really legit working with your own belief systems and your own set of, constructs, and then how that manifests into and resonates into your life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think it.
Well, it
it-
seems like there's an argument for everything. Like there's almost this. It's like the same thing that I experience, where there's this need to be a rebel.
Okay, with say more.
Like I think that everybody has that in them, and there's just like these people that there could be a perfectly logical argument for why you should have energy work done, but they will throw that out and keep throwing out excuses without actual factual basing, if that makes sense. It's like the fake news arguments that we've been seeing, and I think that it happens a lot with stuff like this.
Hmm.
Because I have literally seen videos on social media of people who are like very dead serious and like, you shouldn't go get this done. This is not morally okay.
Well, yeah. I mean, do you know who Doreen Virtue is?
Say that again.
Do you know who Doreen Virtue is?
No.
Well, she has a lot of angel books out, a lot of metaphysical stuff she put out. I mean, she was producing a bunch of stuff, and then she got some sort of religious epiphany. As she said, she met the real Jesus. This is how she put it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's regretting all that she's put out into the world as far as all her books and everything. She's like basically renouncing them, although I bet she's still receiving royalty checks from them. But she's maybe tithing them to the church. I don't know. But she's put out a list. These are all the things you should not do. Meditation's on that list, yoga's on that
Really?
list. It's all anti-Christ.
We'll see. That's
I mean, that's a really extreme. That's extreme. I've watched her because she gets on YouTube and talks about her beliefs now, and she talks about how bad the new age community is. And that's kind of a name for it, is new age community. I don't like that name. It doesn't really fit. But yeah, she publicly speaks out against this work that she did for most of her life.
well, it's that you can use anything as an argument against something, whether it's religious beliefs, political beliefs, you can find a way to turn it
I
into.
mean, I think she genuinely believes that she needs to save everybody from doing this work.
which I don't know how that happens.
Yeah, I mean,
I think that might come from like not being fully, like having this moment where you realize that this is what you want to do and why you want to do it, and she was kind of just going through the motions. That's kind of what it sounds like to me.
so she was going through the motions until she found this religious
And
what?
then she thought that her eyes were opened in the same way that you would walk down a path of religion and then have your eyes opened by leaving it.
Yeah, I mean, it's very harmful, I feel like, for her to do what she's doing because there are so many people who are struggling to be, like, out with their work and their gifts and feeling like they can share it, and for her to and she certified tons of people in doing the work, like, that as professionals.
Mm-hmm.
So then for her to then say, "I shouldn't have done that, your work is bad," is kind of it can be very traumatizing for people who are trying to just genuinely be themselves. I mean, I suppose if you're super solid in yourself and your gifts, it wouldn't hurt you too much. I mean, it doesn't bother me that she does it, but it's
But someone
still,
just getting started, yeah.
or I mean, just somebody who's feeling insecure about things, this very public figure like comes out and says it's bad. I
Well,
don't know.
it's just really hard to navigate. That it's. I think it still goes back to all this divisiveness.
Yeah. I I don't know though. I mean, I guess it is very powerful work. It's scared of that power.
Yeah, and I think they're scared of a movement that is will crush some people's religious communities and will bring them into this new community.
They
You're kind of breaking up a little bit.
I don't know if it's me or you, but one of us is getting censored by the internet here. You're about to say something that's not allowed.
Well, I think that maybe, but I think that that your work actually directly, without you intending to, steps on the feet of what a pastor or a priest might give in a sermon.
Yeah, maybe.
Because
Yeah.
you're trying to teach self empowerment when they're trying to teach outside empowerment. You already have everything you need, is what they teach, and you teach them that there are these things that you can do to make sure that that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess more about that. I mean, I guess I mean, interesting. How you perceive what I do, even though you never had a reading with me or whatever. I mean, how do you get your information about what I do?
Everybody who goes to.
Uh, they tell you about it?
And I've read your descriptions of what you do, and you've described it to me like a dozen times.
Yeah. So, there's a whole nother layer of like, it's not, as far as like legal in certain states to do what I do.
You can
Um,
get like a massage therapist license to do what you do now.
yeah, I mean, there's some regulations yeah. I mean, and I do know that some people have they've used the name of energy work in a bad way, right? I know that some places were calling energy work to basically sex acts in places of business that was not okay, kind of thing. So, I mean, I can see why there's bad things attached to it, but I mean, I also just it's like, but I suppose, I mean, like right now, there's a lot of bad stigma being attached to like police officers, for example, right? And if you're a police officer and you've never done anything wrong and you're literally just trying to do your job and be a good steward of the community, and there's this guy in some clear across the state who's done something crazy, and or not across the state but across the country, and now you as a single person doing this profession have the stigma on you. I could see how this just kind of happens on lots of things, right?
Yeah. Well, with the cop thing, I think that gets reinforced by other cops. But
Well, I mean, yeah, but it's not every cop, right?
yeah, there are definitely good cops. But I think you're right that it's the same kind of thing. There's but there was a lot of times where these energy healers got in trouble for not actually being energy healers.
Right,
I
right.
think that the amount of incidents that people thought I can just take advantage of the success that other people are having doing this,
True.
because they say, oh, all these people have all this power, and I want to take advantage of looking like I have that power.
Yeah.
And it really just brought it all down.
Yeah, there are definitely always fakers for sure.
And I think that there's also like a lot of people. If you go to like a lot of countries in Asia, you'll see a lot of them trying to attract the tourists into their. It's the same kind of thing.
Well, I know there definitely is a tourist thing, like even, in Sedona and things like that too, where it's like is a tourist aspect of offering these things. But
Yeah.
yeah,
I think that if someone goes in that and it seems cheesy and it seems like they are kind of for entertainment, then
right. Right. And they put up maybe they are for entertainment.
yeah,
Yeah.
they just get that and they just perceive that as the entire community.
Right.
Overgeneralization is a big problem, I bet too.
Yeah.
Because I've seen every different type of work come across your office, and none of it's even close to the last one, like similar.
Oh, right. I know. We talked about this last time, all the different energy healing work. So we're out of time today.
Already? Wow.
I know. What shall we talk about next time?
I had an idea like 5 minutes ago. I lost it.
You lost it. Well, what if we talk about more about energy work and emotions?
Okay.
And maybe how you are in touch with or not in touch with your emotions in the sense that we've been working together comparatively to maybe some of your friends who were not as energetically aware.
Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Write
Sounds
this
like
down.
a topic. Okay. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Bye.